What's crackalacking? It's your boy Rashod. Just in case you did not know so, we're back again. Once again, this time taking a look at the receiving class of the 2021 NFL Draft. I'm going to give you my top 15, baby. But if you want to see my full rankings, go ahead, become a Bro Scout tier member. It's the best way to support the channel. It'll get you access to, I got like 60 guys on my actual rankings list when it comes to the receivers. So if you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead and do that. But any and all support is much appreciated, much obliged. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe and leave that thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Go ahead, indulge in that nice, beautiful football discourse in the comment section below. And I think, I forgot who said it, but I'm pretty sure I retweeted it. Go follow me on Twitter, by the way. Someone tweeted, I was talking about how last year's receiving class, the 2020 class, there was a lot more outside receivers, a lot more of these X type of receivers, while this year is a lot of slot guys. There's a lot of valuable slot guys, which I kind of agree with that notion. I feel like we have a lot more guys that could do a lot of different things. I don't think they're just slot guys, but there's a lot of good slot guys in this class. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get into the nitty gritty. We're going to start at 15 with Kade Johnson, who actually might be one of those slot guys. I think at the very least, you are getting an incredibly talented slot receiver. He's super quick, goes from like 0 to 60 almost immediately. He has only 61 career snaps versus press. So yes, it's a fair question to ask. Can he play on the outside? But at the very least, you know you're getting a very good receiver. And I mean, again, playing at South Dakota State, it's not like you're facing the best talent, but going to the Senior Bowl looking like you belong, it's kind of a big deal. He's a very, very smooth route runner. I mean, he had the highest win rate at the Senior Bowl in terms of drills versus DBs. Highest win rate there. So, again, coming in there, looking like he belongs. He's got big hands, but he's got short arms. I don't know how much you want to take that into degree. I think I'm saying that right. But, I don't know. Sometimes for people, arms kind of mean something when it comes to the receiver position. I'm not that worried. I mean, I think it means a lot more if you're a corner, your arm length, than it does receiver. But yeah, Kade Johnson, he's phenomenal. At the very least, going to be a very talented slot guy. My top 15, I got a third round grades or higher. So no surprise here. And then I have Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC, another guy that in 2019 was almost exclusively used in the slot. Very crafty route runner. I wouldn't say he's exceptionally fast, but he did show in 2019 that he could win vertically. Like he was 5 of 6, 5 of 6 on contested catches of 20 yards or more, but he was also 5 of his 6 touchdowns came on catches of 20 yards or more. So he is very talented as a vertical runner. We saw him more as an outside receiver this year in 2020, but that one it was like fine, but it's almost, you almost feel like, yeah, maybe the slot is kind of his spot. But for all intents and purposes, very, very talented route runner. But he does a lot of things well, and like in terms of his traits, his agility, explosiveness, speed in general, like it's all fine, but nothing really stands out. But he's got a very complete route tree. And again, I think that experience on the outside this year really should help his stock. I think you could definitely see this cat go in the second round. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say, like, the reason I have him at 14, so I feel like I'm probably lower on him than a few other guys, is just I think there's better separators in this class. So yeah, take that for what you will. So 14 still pretty high, third round grade. Just gonna throw that out there. And then I got at 13 Tamarion Terry. I have gone this is me going all in. I think the third round is as high as you can probably take Tamarion Terry, unfortunately, just because of 2020. It was a really sucky year, and I was very optimistic. If you couldn't tell, man, I had Tamarion Terry in my, like, I think I had him as high as like 2 or 3 before the season started, because the guy he's an extraordinary talent. Like, he does a lot of Randy Moss-esque things. This guy is a great vertical separator. And he has strong hands. He's got a lot of highlight catches on film there. But yeah, and he put on the weight too, because some of the biggest questions going into the 2020 season for him was we wanted to see an expanded route tree. Unfortunately, Mike Norvell, being the coach there, he runs a more gimmicky offense, very reminiscent of his Memphis days. He relies a lot on guys just kind of trying to create after the catch. So it was a lot of just screen slot go, you know? So unfortunate. I knew that wasn't going to be something that we see on display, but he put on some pounds, and I wanted to see him be more physical around the line of scrimmage, or at least have a bit better of a release. He kind of worried because he was a bit of a not stick, but I think he put on a lot of mass. You could go back and check his I think it was his Twitter. He was posting these pictures, man. But he put on a good grip of mass and like good weight. And I just expected to see him be a bit more physical at the line of scrimmage, and I think that's still kind of like debatable if he was or wasn't. It's really going to be in the eye of the beholder. For me, it's good enough. I was like, yeah, I mean, I saw improvement there. So, yeah, no, I'm totally, I'm totally on the Tamarion Terry train. But, yeah, he did come into the pro day. I think he shedded like 10 pounds. It was like 7 to 10 pounds. And he had a solid pro day. But yeah, 2020 was just a disaster, especially like you had the the issue in that Miami game where he comes to the sideline and he gets an argument with, I believe, the wide receivers coach, and eventually he's just pulled from the game. Eventually he decides, hey, I'm just kind of done. I'm gonna leave the team and I'm gonna start looking to the draft. So unfortunate, man, because I was really high on him, and I still am, because this guy, it's not like he's just a vertical threat with strong hands, because some people will also point out, oh, well, he has some drops. A lot of them are off screens. They're focused drops. He's looking upfield to make a play, because this guy in 2019 was very dangerous in the screen game. So, again, they're focus drops, not ball skill drops. This guy has very good hands, huge catch radius as well. I don't think drops are ever going to be an issue for this cat at the next level. But yeah, in 2019, because that's really, I think, if you want a accurate assessment of Tamarion Terry, you really got to pull from 2019. Regardless if it was like 20 or 30 yards downfield, again, very good vertical separator, or if it was just him catching off the screen, the guy makes moves and he can get up to top speed fairly quickly. Just very, very, very smooth after the catch. I'm a big fan. If your concerns with him are going to be his get off, his limited route tree, but again, these vertical guys, you kind of feel better about at the next level. And dude, you 6'3", 207. I'm a big fan. I think you could work with Tamarion Terry in today's NFL. And then at 12, I got Jaylen Darden out of North Texas. This guy, quite frankly, could go in the second round. It really depends if a team's willing to take a shot on a guy from North Texas that high. And it's not just because he's from North Texas. He's also 5'8", 174. There's a lot of risk assessment involved here. But this dude is very shifty and fast, and this guy just it feels like he's always moving at top speed. He had last season had 23 broken tackles on 74 catches, just game breaking athleticism, and really destroyed lesser competition. Like he holds a few records there at North Texas. You wouldn't be surprised, but again, small size, not much of a catch radius, so he is gonna have to be a separator. He can create after the catch, which is nice. You kind of have to at that size. But yeah, never will be a contested catch guy. Like, because a lot of people make the comparison to Darnell Mooney, and I don't think that's necessarily all accurate. They just see small build, small school, and they try to make that connection since Mooney was just kind of last year. But I think Mooney's a lot more physical as a receiver because Darden just went he was 0 of 9 on contested catches in 2020. I think he's ideally a vertical slot receiver. So yeah, a lot of, again, like in my top 15 so far, Kade Johnson, Monroe St. Brown, Jalen Darden, all kind of slot guys with maybe caveats to like Johnson and Brown. I think Darden is just a premier slot guy at the next level. And then going to 11, another guy that can play in slot, but I think he could play outside too, is Jaylen Wallace. Weighing in at 5'11", 194. I was kind of hoping maybe he got to that 6 foot, but it's whatever. It's fine. This guy is incredible. He was an incredible vertical threat for Oklahoma State. He has great get off on the line of scrimmage, though didn't entirely face a ton of press there in the Big 12. Really just there's like few teams, maybe like Oklahoma, that actually kind of play a bit more press, but didn't face a whole ton of it. But this guy, holy moly, in 2020, he improved his route tree, in which you could kind of think the coaching staff, like he was asked to run a variety of different routes. Because a big question, okay, another guy that's kind of like screen slot go, but I feel like Oklahoma State expanded the playbook a bit more when it came to Wallace, and he delivered. I think Wallace is a lot better at a variety of different routes than maybe what his tape would indicate. 43 contested catches over the course of his career. Yes, this guy attacks the ball well in the air and is a highlight catch waiting to happen. So people could be throwing them James Washington comps. I don't think they're relatively even close in size. They might be. I feel like James Washington's actually over the 200 threshold though. Yeah, 214. Yeah, so whew. Yeah, almost literally 20 pounds more. So, but I would say Wallace is a bit speedier. I think he's got like only 30-inch arms though, right? Yeah, and it's in the 13th percentile. But again, I care a little less about arm length at the NFL level. What I want is a guy that separates. If you're a separator, who the heck cares about your arm length? Like, if you're creating separation, that's easier throws for your quarterback. You're not gonna need that type of ridiculous arm length at the next level. So, and that's what Wallace is, dude. He's a very good separator. The one thing though, I think Darden was much better at was how Darden handled physicality well during his routes, where Wallace, you could tell it would kind of halt momentum. He wouldn't necessarily get up to top speed pretty fast and such. So, and you're gonna see that a lot more in the NFL. Like cornerbacks, they like to put their hands on you. It's like, no, you're only as fast as I'm willing to let you be. So maybe a concern. He had the ACL tear in 2019 that I guess he decided to then come back for the 2020 season after that. But I like Jaylen Wallace a lot. I think he can play outside. He can play in the slot. So again, another one of these guys that are phenomenal slot options. Then on to the top 10, and I'm starting with Josh Palmer. I'm a huge Josh Palmer fan, and this might be my height of the hype for Josh Palmer. You could go back and look at my video before the Senior Bowl, talking about some Senior Bowl sleepers, and Josh Palmer was on that video, and straight up, he came to the Senior Bowl, bam, changed my, not even changed, he took the hype that I was starting to feel, that I was like, man, this guy, he hadn't really been able to produce at Tennessee because their quarterbacks are kind of crap at Tennessee. He never had a season over 500 receiving yards, but like you see some of the athleticism, the ball skills on tape. So this is a guy that could come in and really impress, and he did just that at the Senior Bowl. The guy was great. He had the second highest win rate after Kade Johnson at 80. He won 81% of his routes ran. Solid again, size, great, 6'1", 210. You got athleticism, you got ball skills, could be near the top of his class. He is a bit raw as a route runner. You'll hear me talk about guys coming out of their breaks. I say too much, like but guys come. I think I just did it again. Guys coming out of their breaks where it's not necessarily very, like, it can be explosive, but I talk about this, and I probably will talk about this with Terrace Marshall, where you're just kind of round about it. Like, it kind of looks like this, the mic, it's like, whoop, and not like, it's not like, it could be cleaner. It could be shiftier. So that'll come in time, because he was kind of stuck behind guys like Antonio Callaway and Marquez. It was Marquez Callaway and Juwan Jennings. Yeah, those two guys not last year, but in 2019. But dude has a lot of potential. I'm buying into it. I got a 3rd round grade on him. Now let's go ahead. Let's start the 2nd rounder in Dyami Brown. Very good vertical threat. Getting a lot of hype. As of recent. I'm a bit hesitant. Guy's 6'1", 189. He's got a fabulous deep route tree, vertical route tree. And he's actually pretty darn physical despite his size. Again, only 6'1", 190. It's not like he is one of these more physical receivers, but he's constantly getting clean releases at the line. He's shown some great speed. His average depth of target was 18.4 yards. What? And he could create after contact. What? Like, kind of a total package in terms of what you want to see from a vertical receiver. Like, this is the type of stuff that made me really like Tamarion Terry. But in terms of him being an athlete, I think he's a good athlete. Not necessarily like this high-end tier of athleticism. Like, he's fast, but again, not like, blow you away fast. Not like flabbergast you fast. Like, okay, let me pull up actual 40. Yeah, it's like a 4.46, So, though, very explosive on vertical and broad, which you do like to see. Which, again, kind of explains the get off, the breaks on those like posts and such. Again, this guy's skill set just kind of immediately translates like to the NFL. Like, he attacks those long to intermediate, and a majority of NFL passes happen at the intermediate level. So I think he could instantly be someone you could plug and play into the offense. And then I got Rondale Moore here out of Purdue. He feels more like he's just this top end, high class gadget player. He's 5'7", 180. I think you could literally put him wherever you want on the field. you got to view him as a weapon, but I think because of that, he's probably going to be a second rounder. So stuff will probably need to be schemed for him. But he's so electric with the ball in his hands, and just his stop-start ability is top-notch. It's hard to just get a hand on him, but even if you do, he's kind of jacked out his mind for that size, and he takes contact exceptionally well. Like, more so, like, how will you take his contact? Because he can be physical, man. He's strong, dude. He shrugs off contact. Like, very good, very good. But again, ton of his production was schemed. Almost half of his catches were off screens. I think at one point in 2020, his average depth of target was actually negative yards, saying, he's taking it behind the line of scrimmage and then just trying to make plays with it. So very limited route tree, very much the slant screen, and not really enough of the go. I think he only had one target last year for 20 yards or more. So a lot of his stuff, it's underneath. They're asking him to create, which, I mean, he is a wonderful, wonderful player with the ball in his hands, but not necessarily what you like to see. But he's only played 7 games over the last 2 seasons because of injury. A bit concerning, but especially at that size, it was like, okay, will he hold up in the NFL? I think he will. So a very fun player that I expect to come off the board in the second round, but I think it's going to have to be a special team that has an idea of what they want to do with them. And then, believe it or not, these next 7 receivers, I have all first round grades on. I'm a sucker for receivers. What can I say? Let's start with Terrace Marshall Jr. out of LSU. Great combination of size and speed, huge catch radius. Over the last 2 seasons, he was 25 of 41 on contested catches, which you like to see there. I think he played more of the slot this year, but LSU, they like to put their better receivers in the slot. I mean, we saw that with Justin Jefferson. And much like Jefferson, Marshall, he has some outside experience, coming from 2019, the God year of LSU football. However, this dude as a route runner could use a bit more polish. Still early in his development. This guy's just scratching the surface of his potential. Like, at 6'3", 205, like, there's a lot to like about him. I don't know if his game necessarily translates immediately, but we'll see, man. We'll see. This cat also, let's see, what else do I have to say? Okay, his drops. Drops was kind of a thing in 2020. Like, you'd look at it, I think he had, like, 8 drops on 80-some targets. Wait, was it? I don't have the exact number pulled up here. I think what really alarmed me in 2020 about drops was because they weren't a problem in 2019 where he saw the same amount of targets, but that was kind of over like a 14-game span, opposed to this year over half those games where he saw now all those targets. They all came in a much higher volume. The drops starting to rise a little bit more. I don't think, necessarily that's a problem. It was still under the 10% drop rate. I think, getting used to have to like take on that volume. Yeah, man. Maybe it takes time to get used to. Maybe he really would have exploded in the second half of the season. I mean, he had some banger games. I can't really talk crap, But I also he's got a little bit after, make you miss after the catch ability. So there's a lot to like about him. He's a bit of a diamond in the rough at this point, but yeah, by no means do I think he has a Justin Jefferson type rookie season, but I think he could be definitely maybe a top 20, top 15 receiver in the league. And then I got Cadarius Toney out of Florida. I'm just a big fan of Cadarius Toney. I'm willing to admit some of the stuff I don't like about him. Not by no means is he a polished route runner. And you've seen stuff on tape with him. where it's a bit concerning, where he's asked to run more complicated route concepts, choice routes, stuff like that, constantly making the wrong decisions. But again, that comes in time. Most of the time, he was kind of used as a high-end gadget player there. So his route running, it's a bit raw as well. His route tree, I'd say, is not very expanded. I think he has the ability to be a very crisp route runner. It's just a matter of just rinse and repeat, just getting the hang of running those type of routes. So that should come in time. I think he has high-end route running ability. What makes this guy so special, though, is just what he does with the ball in his hands. He's like so hard to bring down. So hard to bring down. And that's just it's just special, man. I think initially you're probably going to have this cat as a slot only, underneath, kind of create after the catch type of guy. So it's going to have to be a very special role in place initially. But I think further down the line, he can be something special. This dude came in weighing the same size as Rashod Bateman. So, just saying. It's a bit interesting. So, he's like 6 foot, 193. That's kind of solid. Some people might be like, well, he had a ton of drops at the Senior Bowl. He had drops weren't an issue throughout his Florida career. 123 targets, only 3 drops. So, I wouldn't take that too much to heart at the Senior Bowl, but again, he's got great separation ability. It's just a matter of him realizing that. I think he can be very dangerous. He's very sudden at the line of scrimmage too, very shifty. But it's just during some of those routes, sometimes he gets a little too antsy. And you actually kind of saw that at the Senior Bowl as well. You've seen it, if you've watched a lot of his tape, you've seen it a bit here and there. But at the Senior Bowl, man, yeah, sometimes takes him a little bit to get open because he's too busy trying to juke and jive, and it's man, make a move. They're explosive. Just be explosive. You can run away from this guy. What are you doing? Just sitting there tap dancing with them. Just go. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of fluff there. I think that's the best way to put it. But there's a huge ability. Don't get me wrong. It may sound like I'm talking crap about Cadarius Toney. I'm not. I really like Toney. I contemplated him putting him higher on this list. Just because some of the stuff he does is special. It's just, there's some stuff that needs to be worked out there. Just, the guy is so hard to bring down. And just insane movement. Movement skills and just balance. Just phenomenal. But again, to nitpick these receivers, you kind of got to bring out what's bad about them. And then I got Elijah Moore here at 5, so the top 4 shouldn't be surprising at this point. Elijah Moore might only be a vertical guy, another guy that shows a lot of suddenness at the line and just throughout his routes. And that's what I like about him compared to Kadarius Toney. There's a lot more. What would the exact word for this be? A lot more. He knows what he's gonna do before he does it. Opposed to, I feel like Cadarius, so he's a bit more reactionary. Hey, get off me. Keep moving. It's Elijah Moore. It's no, I'm gonna take a couple of steps and make this type of break. You're not gonna be with me. So I don't know what the word is for that, but I like it about Elijah Moore, man. I like it. This guy can take a licking at the catch point too. He has only 10 drops on 120 catchable targets, and I'm pretty sure his contested catch rate was actually pretty solid as well. He hasn't played a lot on the outside, but I think he has the speed and quicks to be able to do that. But he only seen 38 snaps from on the outside versus press, so not alarming. It's just you just don't know. That's the unknown with Moore in terms of can he play on the outside at that size. We just haven't seen it. Doesn't mean he can't do it. But 18 broken tackles on 86 receptions in 2020. He's got a bit of that after the catch, which you like to see. A lot of his production was schemed, but like I think enough of it that you saw on tape where it was just like, okay, man, this guy's kind of an elite separator. Once he gets like 10 to 15 yards down the field, man, it's pretty scary. Just ask Marco Wilson, man. In I think it was their first or second game of the season. It was just Elijah Moore, man, had a field day. Just don't go throwing your shoes now, Marco. Don't go throwing your shoes. Yeah, it was such a that's me being petty. That's me being petty because I really liked Marco Wilson, man. Not that he's a bad prospect, just very unproven. No, just proven to be bad, needs a lot of work. But again, the ridiculous testing, I think he can win on the outside. It'll eventually come. It might just come in due time. But Elijah Moore is very good. I think well worth. Like it's not going to surprise me if he goes top 20. And then I have Rashod Bateman here. And everyone, their mom, were expecting him to come weighing in bigger. I mean, shoot, dude. Cadarius Toney came in weighing bigger than Rashod Bateman. I'm so combining Elijah Moore and Rashod Bateman. But yeah, 6 foot, 190. I think it's just like he feels bigger. A lot of that might be his arm length. Where let me get that exact arm length for you. 33-inch arms, like so he's lanky. So a lot of that, I think, a lot of him, like he does feel bigger on the field. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like sometimes it's like I thought he was 6'4". But part of that might be the length. But he's got probably one of the best get-offs in this class. Very good at the line of scrimmage. There's no waste in motion. And you could tell that from his route running, dude. He's very good. Very, very polished route runner. And he's also very good after the catch. 36 broken tackles on 147 catches. He can play inside and out. 2020, a lot of his snaps came in the slot. Just very, very good, dude. He's a very smooth route runner. He wins a lot downfield. And you could go back to 2018 where he was almost exclusively used as a vertical threat. Drop rate, a lot of them were focus drops. I'm not too concerned about it because he attacks the intermediate a ton. And again, these are drops over the course of his career. He had a 14.3% drop rate, which is concerning without context. Again, a lot of it is like looking upfield. I'm not worried about guys that they're already looking upfield to make a play and they forget to catch the football. Again, they forget to catch the football. It's a bad habit. It's not the inability to catch the football. This isn't ball skill drops we're talking about, so I'm not too worried about that. But hey, showed off his speed. Yeah, he came in smaller than we thought, but again, 33-inch like arm length. That guy's like what do you call him? Wacky, wavy, inflatable tube men. Going back to like Bailey's old school days. Big wrestler fan, by the way. I like to make the occasional wrestling reference, but yeah, man, Rashod Bateman could have been one of those. All right, at number 3, this is tough. I got these next two prospects very close to one another. They're actually you can really switch them however you want, but I'm going to stick with Jaylen Waddle at number 3 here. Scary speed and explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. This guy, for all intents and purposes, is just a scary vertical threat with that type of speed. And there's a lot of physicality to his game despite his size. This guy, I think there can be at least. He was 8 of 10 on contested catches when met at the catch point. So like there's some physicality to this cat's game. It's just coming a bit small of a sample size because he typically doesn't need to make these contested catches. I wouldn't say his like speed or route running are exceptional, especially his route running, because he was used a lot as a what would you call it? Like in 2019 and 20, yeah, he was used a bit more gadgety. I mean, and last year again, he was hurt, which sucks. It was kind of his, it was his year to be like, hey, watch me stand out, which he still did. Like, if you watch the first 4 games for Alabama, he was outproducing DeVonta Smith with less volume. It just speaks to the type of playmaker this guy is with the ball in his hands. He was an elite player in the slot from 2018 to 2019. Like I said, not in 2019, used a bit less, but they did like kind of use him in a variety of different ways. Sometimes even lining him up in the backfield. But from 2018 to 2019, like he was the second best player in the slot in the whole country, only second to CeeDee Lamb. Like in terms of passer rate when targeted, second in terms of yards after catch when targeted. All these in the slot, of course. Second, like, again, dude, he's got some sick numbers out there, man. Size might be a concern, but I think if you're willing to take a bet on DeVonta Smith and his size, because Jaylen Waddle he may not be taller, but he's bigger. And there are concerns about limited sample size on the outside. And in general, like he's played, 171 snaps in his career. But, I mean, from what we saw, it's special. So, I'm not too worried. Guy's an elite separator. So, yeah, go ahead and get him, man. He is great. I love him. Then DeVonta Smith here at number 2. 170, man, it's going to be concerning. That's going to be the concern for a lot of people. I know for a lot of guys out there, they're like, well, size doesn't matter. It does at some points when physicality is kind of your calling card. You know, yeah, he's a great route runner and such, but what he is like he can be physical at the line of scrimmage with his get off. I know he doesn't necessarily need to rely on that. He's got some good footwork at the line of scrimmage, but man, physicality kind of his game when it comes to catching the football because he's physical at the catch point. That's kind of another thing about him. So it's kind of worrisome. Will that translate at 170? Because I know for me, it baffles my mind. Some people have DeVonta Smith over Jamar Chase, where it's like, listen, you're dealing with the two guys that actually do very similar things and do them extremely well. Why are you going to take the guy that's 30 pounds less that you worry will that translate at the next level? That's not a concern for Chase. It's not. I mean, yeah, I think you could give DeVonta Smith as the better route runner to Chase. Not to say Chase is a bad route runner, but I think that you can make the argument. But really, I don't know. I think if you have Smith in front of Chase, you just like risk. You're a risk taker. You crazy. Not necessarily. I think Smith, for me, I think Smith, it'll all translate. He'll be fine. I'm willing to bet on that if Chase is off the board. But again, yeah, I think size is kind of like the big thing. A lot of his production at Alabama was schemed, but I mean, part of that is they just like to get the ball in the playmaker's hands, you know? So I'm not too worried about that at all. Then Chase, yeah, he's number 1. No big surprise. Came out, had a banger pro day. All those people that were like, well, I'm a bit concerned about his speed. He ran a 4.39. 4.38. So, and if there would be people like, hey, those pro day results, they're skewed. You can't trust them. I think a lot of people, they're adding like the extra 0.1. So even if that's the case, man, he ran under a 4.5, so that's kind of solid. That's kind of good. At the contested catch, this guy, because keep in mind he opted out 2020, not that he needed 2020. At the contested catch, phenomenal. 14 of 16. He had 41 plays of 15-plus yards or more in 2019. 22 broken tackles on catches. Literally stacked receivers with ease. he dominated the SEC. I don't know what more you want from him. Like, he was just great. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a shifty athlete, but dude's just kind of ridiculous, kind of great. I'm a big fan. I think Jamar Chase easily could be a top 5 pick in this class. I know for some people, and that doesn't, for me, that doesn't mean I'm saying he's generational top 5. Ooh, I think that's just it's a reflection on the class, you know. And plus, people throw the generational label out way too much. I don't really think there's a generational player in this draft class. So outside of Trevor Lawrence, I guess. So that's just my opinion on it. But if you want to see the rest of my receivers, you got to be a Bro Scout tier member. We're about to go over a whole lot. This video about to be a whole lot longer. But for all others, until next time, you be easy, my friends.